All right, well, now let's get you up to speed with Tesla. Another big story of the day. Shares are under pressure in the final hour of trading. We're looking at losses of just about 6.5%. The move lower, looking like investors were left pretty unimpressed by Elon Musk and company at its investor day yesterday afternoon. Dan Ives, Wedbush Managing Director, Senior Equity Analyst, joining us now here with more. And Dan, it was a pretty long presentation, about 4 hours. Some criticism just in the fact that we got this grand Tesla vision, but it lacked details. You don't seem to be concerned about that. Why?
I think that's always the narrative coming out of these events. I'd say the same for Apple. I think what they really did was they laid out the foundation to drive costs down 30, 40, 50%. And that's going to ultimately enable them to have a lower price vehicle, which I think is really the important thing. I ultimately viewed it as a flex the muscles moment for Tesla, but it just comes down to these events, knee-jerk sell-offs. We'd be buyers on it. That's how we've been telling our investors.
How essential, Dan, is that under $30,000 Tesla model for the investor story moving forward?
It's the hearts and lungs to get to mass market. In other words, when you have $60,000, $70,000 cars, okay, you could sell 2, 3 million. But you're never going to get to annual 4, 5, 10 million when you're selling at those price points. That's why sub 30K is so important, especially right now as part of this green tidal wave in terms of electric vehicles. Tesla, it's their world, everyone else is paying rent. So this is the opportunity now to put that iron fence around their install base. And that's essentially what they're doing. They're laying the groundwork. But of course, coming out of the event, investors, Wall Street, they want more meat on the bone.
Dan, I got to tell you, I love all of your one-liners. It's hard to keep up with all of them. They're the best. We talk about it all the time. But Dan, what do you make of the reaction that we're seeing in the stock today? I know you were saying you weren't too concerned about anything or maybe lack of detail that we got out of the investor event yesterday. But do you think that's just simply a result of the fact that Tesla is up so much since the start of the year?
Exactly. I'd say, and again, first off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I would say so I think this is just a sell on the news, in terms of maybe some anticipation going into it. But if you read the tea leaves, I mean, Musk is essentially laying out that they're going to be able to lower costs 40, 50%. Look at this neighborhood. Look at Rivian. I mean, that's been a dog eat the homework situation every quarter. Then you look at Ford and others. I mean, it just shows Tesla's in a very, very strong position. I think that's sort of our takeaway.
We did see some actual video of the Cybertruck, although again, vague promises from Mr. Musk in terms of when we can actually expect it. How much were you moved at all by seeing the truck? And do you think, how much of this is part of your price target?
Well, I mean, we don't really have too much factored in to our numbers. I mean, if you look at Cybertruck going in 2024, I think it's going to be revolutionary. I mean, it's our estimate you have over 1 million pre-orders. Even if you cut that by 30, 40%, this is going to be massive. I mean, I think a year from now, you're driving around Manhattan outside of your studios and you see Cybertrucks. And I think this just ultimately sends that path where you're going to have Tesla expanding more and more of their model line now that they have the scale and the scope globally.
At what price point does Dan Ives buy that hideous looking vehicle?
Well, I'm on that pre-order list
myself.
So if you see a Cybertruck in New Jersey about a year from now, it could be me. But look, I'm just a believer. Again, people hate it, others love it. Mad Max. I just view this as sort of a revolutionary design that I think is going to, ultimately be attracted by many Tesla loyalists.
It's the cilantro of automobiles. There's no gray area.
There is certainly no gray area.
That may have been a really strange
exactly.
comparison.
Dan, did you hear anything?
If you pull up to a Costco parking lot in that a year from now, you're going to be able to put a lot of stuff in that back.
Okay. there we go. One compelling case
That's the
sent to
video I
get
need,
it.
man.
I know, exactly. There we go. We're intertwining all the big stories of the day. Dan, let's talk about succession, because lots of questions, or I think a lot of people wanted to hear a little bit more about succession from Elon Musk. He had a number of his executives up on stage with him. How are you viewing all this talk about succession and what Tesla might potentially look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
Look, I think Musk is CEO of Tesla at least through 2030. So, I mean, succession, you had Tom Zhu, you had others. That was sort of a show of force, to show it's not just Musk. But ultimately, look, Musk is the hearts and lungs of Tesla. It's part of how we are where we are today in terms of what I view as, along with Apple, the most transformational company in the market. But I think this was really showing that there's not a revolving door. You have a bench, and you're starting to see that now play out. But in terms of as a CEO, I believe Musk is going to be CEO of Tesla between at least till 2030.
Elon does not appear too concerned about a J.D. Power releasing its annual customer satisfaction rating, which Rivian dethroned Tesla in the EV category. What are your thoughts on Rivian's future and their cash position?
It's a frustrating one because, just like you said, I think what Arjun built, the product, the category, it's game changing. The problem is you have to be able to produce the vehicles, and that's been their Achilles heel. And it's sort of been one thing after another. I believe they're starting to fix it, but they need to scale over the next 9, 12 months. That's sort of the key. And it's not a zero-sum game. You're going to have a lot of benefits as part of this green tidal wave, including, many in the 313 area could, where I believe GM is going to see a renaissance of growth.
All right, Dan Ives, you got to leave it there. I got to tell you, I'm excited to maybe see you behind the wheel of a Cybertruck pretty soon at Costco.
Oh,
better follow through.
At Costco.
It's going to be awesome.
There you go. Easy. All right, Dan Ives, great to have you. Thanks so much.